Well, what is going on? I'm so excited right now because next week we're going to start our outreach mission trip here in Uganda for the next 10 weeks. Now, some of you are probably wondering, why am I only starting my mission trip now after being here in Uganda for 3 months? Well, it's probably easier if I explain the whole program to you. So, like I mentioned in my travel video of moving here to Uganda, I'm currently on this 10-month gap year program with Youth with a Mission, or you can just call them YWAM. And the first 6 months of this gap year consists of a discipleship training school, or a DTS, made up of 2 phases. The first phase being the lecture phase, which I've just finished, where you spend 3 months getting preparations and trainings to go out to the mission field through lectures from different speakers from around the world. Then the next phase, which is the outreach phase, involves a mission trip for 2.5 months in a country of our choice. Now, this DTS here in YWAM Arua in Uganda gave us 3 countries to choose from. There was Congo, South Sudan, and Uganda. And obviously, I've chosen Uganda because that's where I feel called to go to. So, over the next 10 weeks, I'll be traveling around different parts of Uganda doing outreach mission work in broken communities. But anyway, there'll be more videos about that over the next few months. This video specifically is to give a review on what I've learned over the last 12 weeks here in DTS and how it relates to the mission field and also to life in general. Now, from the name discipleship, you can tell that this is a biblically based school with biblically based principles and teachings, but that all relates to what we're going to do in the mission field, which I'll explain. So, one of the main things we've learned here over the last 12 weeks is character development, because the truth is, mission work is about transforming the lives of those that we meet, but in order to do so, our lives need to be transformed beforehand, and this can be done by trying to build an effective character inside of us. Now, this kind of character involves characteristics like knowledge, goodness, self-control, and perseverance. And if you can live your life by these kind of characteristics, then you'll be effective in whatever you do. But a strong character also requires a strong foundation inside of you, or in other words, your true colors. Because one thing we've learned here is that when we face difficult situations in life, our true colors will get exposed. And we've been told that on outreach, we'll definitely face difficult situations. So when we do, I'd rather have my true colors being bright than dark, if you know what I mean. But one solution to this is to look into any sinful and prideful characteristics inside of you. Now, over the last 3 months, we heard a few definitions of sin, but the one that stuck to me was where sin is about living a life independently from God, or living a life independent of your own, which then leads to pride, which is self-exaltation of someone over somebody else. Now, when you live your life by sin and pride, this tends to distance you from other people and gives you a more bitter character. And also, unforgiveness also gives you a more bitter character and gives you more hatred and anger in your life. Because when you choose to unforgive someone, or when you hold a grudge against someone, that will just build up a lot of anger inside of you. Because the truth is, people cannot make us angry. Anger is something that we all have inside of us, and someone can only trigger the anger inside of you. but it's up to us to control our anger. But when you choose to forgive those who have done you wrong, then it releases a lot of anger and hatred from you. And to be honest, unforgiveness was something that I struggled with before I came here. Like, there were some people in my past that I didn't forgive for a while, but here we've gone through forgiveness a few times and I've now forgiven everyone, and it's brought a lot of peace and joy to my heart. But also, in terms of our character, our worldview is also really important, because our worldview is, well, the way we view the world, or the mental picture we have of the way things work in this world. But our worldview is shaped by our culture, the way we're brought up, and the media around us. So people from different cultures have different worldviews, and that's the case here in YWAM. But here in the mission field, we all need to have the same kind of worldview, because the worldview from one culture is wrong in another culture. So in cross-cultural mission work, we all need to be working by the same kind of worldview. In this case, biblical worldview, because that kind of worldview will stay the same in every culture. Before going out to these African communities, we need to be aware of the problems and issues these people are facing here, so we know how to deal with them. One big problem here is rejection, because this has occurred a lot among families, communities, and even the government, which has led to consequences like street children and corruption. Spirituality is also a big problem here. Well, it's both good and bad, seeing that people here strongly believe in the spiritual realm, but it's bad because whenever someone gets sick or has an accident, a lot of people here will assume that it's because of evil spirits or demons, and a lot of people go towards witch doctors for help. And yeah, witch doctors, that's a real thing here. But it's advised that you don't go looking for help from witch doctors, because they'll give you more trouble than good. Uganda is still recovering from a violent history over the last 20 and 30 years because of people like Joseph Kony and his Lord Resistance Army, or LRA. A lot of you probably remember Kony 2012. Yeah, same guy. And about 20 years ago, he caused a lot of terrorism and killing here in northern Uganda. But even after he left, Uganda still faced a lot of problems in war, because it was involved with Congo and South Sudan in their own civil wars. And even Uganda is still taking in a lot of refugees from these countries, which is good because they have somewhere to stay, but it's bad because it's brought a lot of brokenness and devastation to the country. The government being in power and bringing corruption, like I said, has also brought a lot of brokenness because of people in authority being greedy and keeping a lot of the country's money for themselves and not giving enough to the people in the country. And all these things have led to poverty here in Uganda and other nearby countries. Poverty being the mindset of believing you have nothing even when you have a lot. Because poverty is not a lack of resources, but rather it's a lack of creativity in the mind. Because honestly, Africa is not lacking resources. In fact, Africa as a continent is very rich in resources and natural wealth like gold, diamonds, oil, and other kinds of resources. The truth is, Africa doesn't need Westerners from Europe and America to bring their own resources to build the continent. Africa is able to solve its own problems. The thing that needs to change here is the mindset of the way people here think. especially those in power and those in the government. So then, what's the whole point in missions work? Well, mission itself is a strong calling to go out to the world and change something that truly upsets you. And evangelism, which is part of missions and outreach here in YWAM, is about sharing your faith. And by that I mean sharing what the Bible says and what you know from the Bible, and sharing what your Christian faith has done for you in your life, in hope that it will inspire others in their lives. Now, evangelism is done in many different ways among different groups of people. For example, for the elderly, it might involve helping in a retirement home, or for children or young people, it might involve playing sports with them outside or coming into their local schools. But the main focus is making relationships with these people, allowing them to get to know you and trying to get to know them, and also sharing with them a message that can change their lives. But cultural adaptation is also a big part of this, as you need to be able to adapt into these cultures for these people to be able to accept you and your message. So that means leaving your own culture behind and becoming part of these cultures. Otherwise, you show these people rejection and then they'll show you rejection. But anyway, the point is, a powerful message brings reconciliation to broken communities and broken people, and reconciliation is always the first step to restoration and development in these communities. So yeah, this is basically what we've learned in DTS over the last 12 weeks, and we hope that we'll be able to put these things into practice over the next 10 weeks as we go out for outreach into communities in Uganda and see how broken these places are and what we can do. And I look forward to showing you more of what I'll be doing here and more of the challenges I'll be facing. But no, this DTS, I've enjoyed it so far. It's been nice, and at first I wasn't sure how I'd feel about it, seeing that it's a school, and I felt like I've done enough school in my life, especially seeing that I came here right after finishing university. But anyway, this has been more relaxing, and it beats 4 years of chemical engineering in college. But yeah, I suppose now it's time to really start thinking and put on the thinking cap, and time to go out into the mission field.